We're a team of seven now.
Perfect. Are you in the post? You say you're two guys and four girls. So is that
Five,
did you?
five women, five women. Yeah, I made a typo. Well, someone just started on Monday.
Oh, congrats! Awesome. All right, let's just jump into it then. Hello there, Garrick here, and today I have a very special guest, Sam Parr. Now, Sam is a founder of thehustle.co, which is an amazing website. If you have not checked it out, pause this video right now, links are below in the description, and check it out. Then come back to this video. It's an amazing website made for entrepreneurs, creative types, startup founders, and of course, life hackers. So, Sam, want to tell us a little bit about why you decided to create this awesome media company and kind of what it's all about?
Sure. So we decided to create the hustle because we had a few personal goals. One of them being that we wanted to affect hundreds of millions of people every single month. And we saw a need in the content industry, specifically amongst a gap created by old and stuffy business content, like the Wall Street Journal or something you'd find in Bloomberg or New York Times, and then lots of really shitty content like BuzzFeed or Elite Daily. And so that's where we decided to fit ourselves in there. And so the hustle is our first version of trying to solve that problem. We describe it kind of like Fast Company meets Vice. So it's somewhat edgier on the cusp type of businessy style content, specifically longer form stuff and delivered via email.
All right, awesome. So the hustle, as I know it, is originally based for entrepreneurs, but as time has gone on, you've been releasing content about all sorts of really fascinating goings on in the world, like Burning Man, different startups like Soylent Green, and other great stuff. And I was curious, kind of going back to the roots, you still publish a lot of great articles on entrepreneurship. Um, and I know that you personally have a lot of experience in startups. If you could offer advice to somebody who is going out there in the startup world, didn't have a lot of experience, what would be the top hacks or the top tips and tricks that you could suggest for them?
The top. So in terms of high level like strategy, I always tell people and myself is that very early on, if you're new, you just have to recognize that most all of the stuff that you're creating is going to suck really, really bad,
Yeah.
and it's really just crappy. Anything you make is really crappy very early on, and even as you grow and make better stuff, you still will always think that it's crap. And so I just tell people just to recognize that the things that they're doing today will not be their best work, but just to accept that and to keep steadily improving. And over time, it kind of feels like overnight things are just starting to click, but in reality, it's like years of trying different things, and so it just kind of feels like overnight things click. So that's what I tell people to when they're just starting out is to just recognize that it sucks in the beginning. Um, in terms of um, like specific hacks, I read a ton, and pretty much what I do is I shamelessly steal ideas from pretty much all the books that I read, and because I read so much, I just am able to like connect a lots of different ideas and different like cool things that other people have done, and I just kind of connect them, and it makes me look original. But in reality, I just read a ton, and I just copy what works for people who I admire and people who I want to be similar to.
Yeah, I like what you said at first. It reminds me of a quote that goes, "An overnight success is 5 years in the making." And
Yeah,
also going into the second half, stealing other people's ideas and everybody looks at you like you're the genius. Uh, I've heard that from a lot of people I personally read voraciously also, But I'm curious, what kind of books would you suggest as for people who want to go in the startup world? I know you have a book club called the Anti-MBA Book Club, but could you give us
I
any
do.
suggestions for
Yeah.
authors right now?
Yeah. So let's see. My top three favorite books. The first one is John Rockefeller's biography. He's a perfect example of how to be a ruthless business person while also having really good character and treating your family well and treating other people well with respect. I think that because nowadays we see people like the founder of Uber or some other founders who are like famous, or like Steve Jobs, who are like famous for being huge assholes, but John Rockefeller, he was the richest man to ever live, still to this day, and he was extremely kind to his coworkers and to his family, and he worked his ass off, and he had really good morals for the most part. Um, so it's called Titan. It's by Ron Chernow. That's like the best book I've ever read. The second book would be Influence by Robert Cialdini. Pretty much, if you
Yes.
read any book that talks about sales or persuasion, they're pretty much just citing him or the studies that he originally discovered. So that's the best. And then third, there's this book on copywriting by Joseph Sugarman, and it's called Advertising Secrets of the Written Word. And I originally read it because I wanted to learn about copywriting, but I ended up learning just so much more other than copywriting, which is how to communicate well and how to get your idea across. And pretty much my tone and my voice is my written word is just like totally inspired by that book. And I think that it looks, the cover is like the worst cover you'd ever see, but it's like definitely one of the best books I've ever read, and totally a must read for anyone who wants to learn how to communicate better.
Yeah, I heard that I completely agree with this, that the three skills that you need to be if you want to be um, a digital nomad, or probably the same as a startup founder, is you have to have a lot of discipline, a lot of flexibility, which kind of go hand in hand. But then the third one is you just have to be really good at copywriting. And that was just the third one, much more tactical than the first two. But that the need to be able to communicate, not just through sales copy and text, but in all arenas is really important.
I think
And
learning how to copyright is the single most important skill that anyone who wants to succeed in the professional world can learn. It teaches you more than sales. It teaches you how people think. It teaches you how to organize your idea in a very um, organize your idea in coherent structure. It teaches you how to get people excited. It teaches you how to make people feel emotions. If you don't study copy, if you don't at least learn a little bit the basics about copywriting and you want to be successful, the odds are not in your favor unless you're just unless you're just gifted. But if you look at like the I guess quote the people who we call successful, go and like look at the emails that they send to people. Like for example, like there's a lot of like Steve Jobs or Jeff Bezos emails that have leaked out, and like the way that they communicate through the written word is just inspiring.
yeah, what? So if you're watching this interview right now and you want to become a startup founder or a digital nomad or any kind of business success outside of the norm, check out, what do you say, Joseph Sugarman's, what was the name of the book?
Advertising secrets of the written word. It is just the best. So Joe Sugarman is one of the. He lived in the 70s, or he's still alive, but he was around. He was at the height of his success in the 70s and 80s, and that was right when direct mail was still popular, as well as when infomercials started getting popular. And he wrote a lot of these like infomercials that we consider that we still like. People my age. I'm not that old. I mean, I'm still young, but growing up, I remember seeing his uh, infomercials, and so the infomercials that like I remember, he was like the one who wrote them. And it sounds sleazy, but he wasn't sleazy at all. He was actually a good person, but he just explains like the psychology behind organizing thoughts, and it is just the best.
And another tip that I follow for learning how to write sales copy is that you take the best sales letters you can find, and there's different compilations you can find online of the best sales letters, and you write them by hand. I'm curious, have you ever done that practice of writing sales letters by hand to get them
Yeah,
into your
I
head?
did that probably every day for a year, about every day for about an hour a day. But I didn't just do it with sales copy. I did it with like books. I would write out books. I would write out movie scripts. Just anything that was engaging to me, um, like a Saturday Night Live script, or like a Hunter S. Thompson book, or Catcher in the Rye, or anything like that. You write it out by hand, and it really teaches you things. I mean, like Judd Apatow, the famous director, he was known for writing out like the whole Star Wars scripts and things like that, just so he could understand the flow of dialogue for a successful film. So that's definitely a super common way to understand things.
And I love it that you said that because I mean that's more than I do. An hour a day sounds crazy right now, but I'll work my way up to it. You make me look bad. But people on the outside, there's a lot of little tactics that it feels like so many successful people are doing, but if you're just going into the industry, you don't know it. I didn't know that you had writing sales copy by hand was a thing until just like 8 months ago, 1 year ago, something like that. But it's those little things that add up, in my opinion, that really make a difference.
Totally.
Um,
There's this service called Copy Hour,
yes.
copyhour.com, and that's what I used. I used that for a year. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've heard Copy Hour cited before as the number one service you can sign up to learn sales copy. Personally, I didn't use it, but I've heard incredible recommendations for it. So
Yeah,
that
it's
that
cool.
definitely comes.
It's definitely narrow. It's only about like it's like directed towards like online sales, which is cool. It's definitely a little narrow, but like so I would do like books as well, but 100 it's hard work. It's grunt work. It's not fun. And it's not exciting, and it sucks, but it definitely makes you better.
Now, kind of working back on what you said about the first book, you said John D. Rockefeller, the one where you described him, to describe him was really nice, really good to his workers, to his employees, and he also worked his ass off. And obviously,
Works
the
so hard, yeah.
hustle, and obviously, thehustle.co is named after that. It's named after hustle. And as kind of one of the definitive hustlers, the founder of the hustle, I would like to get your definition of hustle. Maybe you don't have one very concise, but if you do, I would love to hear it. Do you have a definition for it?
Yeah, kinda. I mean, it's a kind of a nebulous word, but when I think of hustle, if I claim to be a hustler, which I guess I think I am, it's when I say you try to like figure out the rules to the game, and you're like, okay, what is everyone doing? And then you're just gonna say, fuck the rules. I'm not gonna pay. I'm not gonna like. I don't purposely try to break rules, but I'm like, okay, everyone is doing this one thing, and they're going about this in one way. Why are they going about that way? And is it actually the right move? And if it isn't, then let's just like, if you got to get from A to B, and it's like this like line that people are going, but I don't think that's the best. I'll just like go around it. You know
And
what I
it
mean?
basically never is the right way, really, because
Well,
it.
you could
That's what
take
I
I
thought.
take I yeah. There's never a right way, but what I do is I just like am influenced by things that I like. So for example, with our conference, it was really successful and extremely profitable, and people loved it. And it was because I've never been to a conference before, other than our conference. But I go to concerts all the time. I love concerts, and so we're like, well, concerts are awesome. They sell out all the time. People love them. It changes people's lives. And conferences are boring. So let's just like steal everything that concert promoters do for our conference. And so that like things like that. That's what we think of a hustle. Or like if I want to get in touch with someone, it's like, well, this person isn't responding to my emails, so I'm just gonna send this guy like a huge like package in the mail or something like stupid like that. Just like to me, hustle is just like thinking of like really unique and strange ideas to get things done more efficiently.
And you're gonna pick up those kind of tactics when you read, as you said, read a lot and then steal those ideas. You'll just start picking them up.
Yeah, I just
Um,
completely like I have no shame in admitting that I'll just like steal everything. So like trying to think of an example. So um,
that's an example of you stealing something.
yeah, so trying to think of a very specific one. Okay, like in the book Influence, um, one of the ideas is that if you give someone a gift, they'll likely reciprocate the action by giving you something that you want. And so what we do is whenever I got to go, this is cited in the book, this very similar study, a guy wants to rent out a store, or he wants to lease a property for a store. And when he tests it and he goes to different landlords, and when he goes to meet the landlords, he brings them a can of Coca-Cola, and he gives that to the landlord, and then they start negotiating. And he found that he was able to get a significant price reduction on the property after he gave a very small, insignificant gift to someone who he wants to negotiate with. And so whenever we negotiate, for example, we have a conference coming up, um, and we're going to negotiate with the venue to get a good deal, to get certain things. I'm 100% going to bring this woman lunch before we meet. So things like that. I'll just rip off good ideas completely, and just use them directly.
I love that. So it sounds like really your definition of hustle is isn't so much about the hard work, though that's probably definitely a part of it. It's more synonymous with life hacking, with finding a system and then finding the points in it that don't make sense and then tweaking those points. Um,
Yeah, kind of. I
Different
mean,
way
I
to say
don't
the same thing.
like. I like some people. I used to have like a lifestyle business where I didn't have to work that hard and I made a good living. But now with the startup, because we raised money, I work all the time, and so I wouldn't say it's definitely work hard. It's just that there's different people want different things, and right now I want to run a venture funded business, and so it is all hustling right now is all hard work and persistence, and but I guess it changes.
I like that because
Yeah.
to me, I've always kind of been in love with the term hustle, but to me, it's always something that kind of scared me on one level because I can be really passionate about something, but sometimes I don't know when to quit. I don't know when to rest. So to me, kind of being too in love with that word hustle, thinking of it too much of a virtue, was always kind of a scary proposition for me. Um,
Right. Well,
and that's kind of what
maybe sometimes you don't quit. You do it. You just get a. I'm like that too. I mean, I get obsessed with shit, and I just obsess over it and focus on it all the time. And I'm not against that.
that's fair. So
Yeah, I
kind
think
of
addicting personalities are good sometimes.
it can work to your advantage.
Sometimes,
So
but if you get into bad habits, it's awful.
So I got another question for you.
Yeah.
Um, when you first were going into creating a business of your own, I know that your first one was a website called Moonshine Online, right?
Yeah, that was the first money that paid. That was the first business that paid the bills when I was in college.
Okay.
And then I started a chain of hot dog stands in college called Southern Sam's.
Completely different businesses. I like that. I'm curious, what would probably be the advice that you wish that you had heard right from the beginning, or probably better said, the advice that you probably did hear but wish you had followed
Um,
from the beginning of that.
so up until about 2 or 3 years ago, I half-assed things a lot. I was all about like speed. I would get an idea and then an hour later I'd be like, let's do it, and then I would just like super fast move forward. Like okay, let's do this. Okay, we got it. Let's go into great. So with Moonshine Online, that could have been a huge business. That could have made a lot of money, and that could have been massive. But because I like half-assed things, and I was just trying to like make money fast, that was stupid. I wish I would have known better about how to like set yourself up for longer term success and sweat the details and lay that strong foundation as opposed to just worry about the short term. So I wish I would have focused on that more. And that's definitely something now that we're doing with the hustle. Um, but back then, it was when I was younger. I mean, that was good. I was making like $1,000 a day when I was like 20 years old. It was like wild, but it didn't last long because I just like half-assed things and I was just wild. So I wish I would have known to like focus on the details for long-term success rather than worry about the shorter term.
Yeah, that is some good advice. I think that comes back down to what you were saying before, that you have to define what it is that you want out of it. If you want to create that long-term business, or do you want that really short-term cash cow that might go away next week? But you have to define what it is that you're going after right from the get-go.
Yeah, neither is right or wrong. You know, like some people, people want different things, so it's just a matter of what you want. It's like there's a whole like a whole lot of people that don't want to like work that hard and they enjoy spending time with their family and having a calm life and they just want to create like a Tim Ferriss style company and that's extremely respectable. And then there's other people who want to risk it and are willing to take on a lot of funding and take on a lot of debt and risk. And chances are they're going to fail, but they just want to try to build something massive. That's cool too. So it's just all different, and there's no right or wrong way. It's just what people enjoy doing with their time.
Well put. Well, I wish I had been able to continue this conversation all day. I've enjoyed this immensely. Thank you, Sam Parr, for coming online and talking with us.
Yeah,
And
where's
unless
this
there's
gonna
anything
go?
else,
Yeah, where's
um,
this? Where?
we're planning to put it, kind of talking about it now, onto Life Hacks magazine, inside the magazine, but
Cool.
then also onto another magazine we're launching potentially called High Existence Magazine that we're just launching next month. So,
Cool.
um, yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
How's the magazine going?
Right now, the Life Hacks magazine was our testing magazine, so to kind of try things out. But since then, we contacted through that magazine. It's used as a networking tool to
Yeah.
contact another website called High Existence, and that website gets about 1 million hits a month. So we're launching
Oh, good job.
a magazine with them, and that's gonna happen on October 15th, and
Oh, great.
that's the one we're excited about.
Well, good. Congratulations on your success. Let me know how I can help, and good job.
Yeah, thank you. Um, so with that kind of fourth wall broken, good talking with you, Sam. And if there's anything we can help with the hustle, also, I really do love the website. It's
Thanks.
fantastic. I like the original entrepreneurial articles the best, but pretty much everything you threw out there has been extremely entertaining, and I read almost every article, so I really love it.
That really means a lot to me.
If there's
Yeah, it's just
anything, yeah.
whenever we produce something and you either strongly love it or strongly hate it, or even worse, it doesn't resonate, like it makes you feel nothing. Uh, Email me and let me know. I like the good feedback, but I particularly like the negative feedback. So please stay in touch and let me know exactly how you feel.
All right, I'll be happy to go into the nitty gritty. I
Yeah,
do. It's a good website. I'm happy to help.
thanks,
Um,
man.
so I'll let you get. Probably have another meeting hustling along. I'll let you get to it.
Yeah.
I'll see
Okay,
you next
well,
time.
have a good day and thanks for this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
talk to you later.